So it's a lot of the same things you'd worry about in any operations, really, making sure that the right thing happens at the right time in the exact same way at all locations.
100%. And in condo, those who have lived in condos or those who have lived in HOAs knows that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. If somebody new comes into a building, that those SOPs are easily transferred over. We have AI launching early next year that's going to help property managers and boards make sure they get the right answer the first time. So lots of use cases that cross both HOA and condo.
I'd love to hear two things. One is, like, how did you guys find your first customers when you were on the earlier stages of the game before acquisitions? And now, what are you doing to grow?
We want to continue to provide them the service that they purchase. And then how we integrate condo control and HOA sites and condo control and condo manager, how do we integrate that into a fantastic experience that solves more problems for our base in all three companies it's going to be the challenge of 2026 and what is going to be super exciting for our customers, our employees, and our stakeholders.
Rob, welcome to Product Growth Stories. Super happy to have you on the show. And you're the CRO of a company called Property Control. Can you tell me a little bit about what does that do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are the conglomeration of three different brands. So we have Condo Control, which many folks in Toronto, if you live in a condo, you might know us. We are by far the dominant player in condo management software here in Toronto and in Canada, across the country. Also down in the US, New York, Chicago, Miami, all that kind of fun stuff. We also have a company called HOA Sites, and they are actually the leader in HOA site management, representing millions of doors across self-managed HOAs across the United States. Mm-hmm. And a third company that we just purchased about 4 months ago is Condo Manager, and they are a dominant property management corporation accounting software in Quebec. So they are the dominant player in Quebec and Eastern Canada. And so we are growing both organically and through acquisition. And that leads us to Property Control.
Great. I sense a theme. You guys have focused on a very specific subset of the world.
100%.
Yeah. And are the problems, does it really generalize? Like, are the problems of HOAs a little bit similar to the problems of condos?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's sort of two or three streams of this, right? There's the stream of the board managed, where the board really controls the condo or the board really controls the HOA. And those problems are very similar, especially in high rises to high amenity HOAs across the United States, right? So if you're in a building that has a party room, a swimming pool, a gym, tons of amenities in that building, you need ways to manage that is fair, ways to take payment that makes sense, all that kind of stuff. Very similar to HOAs with a lot of amenities across the US, whether it's golf or tennis or pools or saunas or any of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a property management company, your job is really to create a great service for the properties that you manage. And part of that is doing the same thing the same way over and over and over again. And that's how property management corporations use our software to manage their folks and make sure that their boards are happy, their folks are productive, and that nothing gets, through the crack.
Makes sense. So it's a lot of the same things you'd worry about in any operations, really, making sure that the right thing happens at the right time in the exact same way at all locations.
100%. And in condo, those who have lived in condos or those who have lived in HOAs knows that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Yeah. And that there generally is a right way to fix that. And ensuring that at the fingertips, the property managers have the SOPs, can make sure that they handle those situations the same way over and over again. If somebody new comes into a building, that those SOPs are easily transferred over. We have AI launching early next year that's going to help property managers and boards make sure they get the right answer the first time, as an example. So lots of use cases that cross both HOA and condo.
Love it. Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I'm curious I'd love to hear two things. One is, like, how did you guys find your first customers when you were on the earlier stages of the game before acquisitions? And now, what are you doing to grow?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So first of all, Brian, our founder, has been doing this for about 15 years. So I'm new. I've been here for about 6 months, but I'll tell you kind of the founding story as I've heard it from him. He's lived in condos, so he's a transplant from the great state of Michigan, and he's moved up here and worked for various companies, lived in condos, and realized, hey, it's not great. There's a bunch of stuff that's missing from my
Yeah.
condo experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as a result, he built software because he's been on boards of his condos forever and ever. And he's built software that he wants to use to make his experience in buildings better. And then that's really translated across to then large property management companies and large HOAs and property management companies in the United States. So it's built for and by users. And that's what's exciting about it is Brian, and how did he get his first customer? He was his own first customer, frankly, in his building. And since then has really driven the business forward. It's one of the most in-depth products. The surface area of the product is enormous. It tackles things, like I said, amenity booking, but it tackles parking. It tackles guest passes. It tackles all the headaches of living in a very tight community like a condo living is, really helps manage that in an effective way. Now, how do we get customers? So, scale, fast forward 15 years, it's not just word of mouth.
The montage, Rocky montage.
Yeah, exactly. But a couple things are really important. One is this is really a community, much more so than what my experience has been like before. And how have we gotten there's a community around property management, there's a community around boards. In Ontario, ACMO is the sort of community organizer that drives that community. In the United States, it tends to be CAI and some other sort of associations. But it really is a community, and being a part of that community really matters. We just came from an ACMO trade show earlier last month, where so many people knew Brian, so many people knew our customer success. People were greeted with hugs and hugged us, and it is not just a sort of soulless inbound motion. It is really a community driven purchase. And that leads us to a whole bunch of interesting go-to-market options, right? Where we need to probably embed people more. It's a little bit more old school, actually, where, we're not just throwing up ads, we're block and tackling face-to-face like we used to do 20 years ago.
Still works.
Now, that's not.
It never stopped working.
As
long as you sell something very that solves a large problem. It's still
100%, 100%. And we have this crazy idea that we should call people and we should talk to them on the phone. And the human connection here matters disproportionately. And so our go-to-market reflects that humanity of, this is people's homes, right? This really matters. This isn't just some software, CRM software. This is managing people's homes, which is intensely personal for them.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And it's less, what's the word? It's less abstract and rational when it's your own home. And this reminds me, I talked to one other person who they had a very old school kind of go-to-market, and they were doing software for garages, and they just went on a gigantic road trip. And now they have the lion's share of the market for the garage management thing. But it's amazing that, that works. It just takes longer, but it's deadly effective at each, stop.
And that's what's exciting about it is, it's back to old school principles, but it's funny. We're incorporating AI into our go-to-market motion. We're incorporating technology where it makes sense, where it enhances that personal connection, where we can provide support faster, better, longer, where we can meet customers where they are, where we can get answers to them immediately. That's how we're going to use technology to enhance that community. And that's what we've done so far. And that's really what the AI we're building in our tool is going to do for people. Get them the right answer where they are, when they want it, and allow them to have a great personal experience, but also use the technology to enhance that personal experience.
Yeah. And I love it. And for the vision for the product long-term, are you thinking of it as a vertical SaaS where eventually you're going to have payroll and every kind of covering the entire business?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think what's going to happen over the medium term is a focus around, as property managers continue to grow in this space, which they really are, they do tend to be family businesses. They tend to be entrepreneurial, very entrepreneurial. The founders I've talked to are fantastic entrepreneurs. They've tended to work in property management before. And what they
Mm.
found was, I think I can do it better myself. And I think I've got something to contribute to this that is different than what we've used up until now. And so I think, as we think about the software, it's really going to be continuing to solve the problems for those entrepreneurs, to allow them to do their jobs better, more effectively, more efficiently, and ensure that they can scale their businesses, right? And it really starts with, at the property management level, doing the right thing when it's necessary, doing the same thing the same way over and over again. The repeatability really starts to matter when you're trying to scale out that business. Every property manager fending for themselves is a recipe for a bit of a disaster over the medium term. So the product is really going to be designed to support a fantastic experience for the residents through the property manager. And certainly in the vertical, certainly it will be a vertical SaaS product for
Yeah,
sure.
makes sense. So what are you like as we look at, we're filming this in December, and it's
Yeah.
going to be 2026. And I'm curious,
Yeah.
what are you excited about for the future of property control and all that family of products? Is it mainly in the AI space, or are there other things that you're excited about in terms of the product and GTM?
Boy, I was talking to some board folks the other day, talking to the CEO. I am wildly optimistic around our space because I think there's a bunch of things that are coming. One, making payments far easier, far better, far more transactional, far better integration with accounting. That's going to make a big difference for our property managers. That's going to make a big difference for our board members and make a big difference for our residents. The ability to provide more products and services into our base as well, I think, is going to be a fantastic opportunity, again, for us and for our property managers. And really incorporating and integrating these three fantastic companies that we've purchased into something like that. Integration, the way we're going about it, really matters. We've got to respect the customers that we've got. We want to continue to provide them the service that they purchased. And then how we integrate condo control and HOA sites and condo control and condo manager, how do we integrate that into a fantastic experience that solves more problems for our base in all three companies it's going to be the challenge of 2026, and what is going to be super exciting for our customers, our employees, and our stakeholders.
Love it. Well, Rob, thank you so much. It's been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.